What's more dangerous than a man that preys on a woman? Sometimes it's a woman who raises you to believe his love matters more than your life. I'm talking about male-centered mothers. Pick-me mothers. The ones who worship their sons and their man, but raise their daughters like competition. These mothers build their entire identity around being chosen by a man. Their self-worth is tied to whether a man loves them, wants them, or stays with them. And they pass that sickness down. They pour unconditional love into their sons, teaching them they're kings no matter how they act. But their daughters have to earn scraps. Every compliment feels like a competition. Every mistake feels like proof you're not enough. Daughters of the pick-me mother grow up being compared to the mother when she was younger, to the men the mother wants to keep around, to the sons who can do no wrong. She'll call you fast. She'll shame you for your body. She'll accuse you of trying to take her man. And not because you did anything, but because in her eyes, you're competition, not her child. And that kind of jealousy is a form of abuse. It makes daughters feel like intruders in their own home, like they're never safe, even with their own mother. And the dangers of being raised like this runs deep. You grow up believing that women are rivals, not allies. You normalize men being prioritized over your safety. You often shrink yourself to avoid triggering her jealousy. You internalize that idea that your voice, your body, your needs are the problem. And here's the truth. Male-centered mothers don't protect their daughters. They protect men. They protect their sons. They protect their image. But rarely do they protect their girls. I had to break the cycle. When my mom died when I was 19, I got to raise myself with the love she couldn't give. I got to choose women as allies, not enemies. Male-centered mothers may have raised us. They will not define us because we are not pick-me's. We are not rivals and we are not threats. We are daughters, we are women, and we are worthy.
Hi ladies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Miss Kafue. So happy new year, happy new year. I know I've been missing in action, but it's because of the many changes that were happening during the new year for me. I had to move to a new house to get closer to my son's school. I mean, like a lot has been happening. I don't know where even to start from. But hey, I'm back for the year. I also had to take just a little mental break for myself, but I'm happy to be back with even better content this year. So today, ladies, we are talking about male-centered mothers. Oh my God. I'm grateful to have experienced the purest form of love, and my mother was not male-centered at all. Like, I thank God for her. But during my life, I've encountered some male-centered mothers. And I'll share a story at the end of this video that will have you shook. So without further ado, let's jump right into this video and then I'll be back to give my take on it.
Have y'all noticed that male-centered mothers are less controlling and kind of nicer when they have a man? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But when mine had one, baby, she said yes to everything. I could finally go places. That man had to have a hot meal kind of every day. So that's when she cooked and cleaned the most. When they have a man, they buy you gifts more. The answer might have been no to the gift at first, but one day she all jolly and happy and shit bringing you the gift. When they had a man, they acted less miserable. They was happy as fuck. I used to think like, damn, is this what we've been missing the whole time? You act ugly, miserable, and mean on all them other days, but you bring this man around and you jolly and you happy and you, bitch, please. I don't know, these men be giving these male-centered bitches a little high, a little boost or something. I was like, maybe we could keep you around for a little longer. This type of dynamic is filled with like a bunch of highs and lows, but when the highs are high, baby, they are high. You sometimes tend to say, fuck the lows. I started to not like my mama out of a relationship. Every time she got out of a relationship and she reverted back to them old ugly ass ways, I used to tell her, girl, you need a man. That statement wasn't true. She really needed herself because she don't love herself. But shit, to stay off my back, bitch, bring them on. Fuck.
You know, there are so many moms that are so male-centered that they will baby their sons, but then demonize their daughters like their whole life, bro.
Oh, my mama!
This really happens if your mom is really traditional, I'm not gonna lie. Because the thing is, right, is because like growing up, right, they're so used to just taking care of all the men in the house, make sure the men were straight, right? Meanwhile, you know what I'm saying, like the women have to do their chores and shit, you know? And like, I'm not gonna lie, they kind of resent that happening, you know what I'm saying? And so therefore, instead of be like, you know, like trying to raise their daughter to be like more independent type shit, right, they're like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying? since they not a dude, you know what I'm saying, they don't know how to, like, you know, take care of their emotions type shit. Whereas, you know, as male, who are seen as just so fragile, you know, especially black men, it's like, oh my God, bro, what the fuck?
It's so fucked up.
I may have gotten that part wrong because I'm not a daughter, but like, in terms of the son part, when you get babied and shit, you know what I'm saying, two things can happen. It's either the son end up resenting you because, you know what I'm saying, he's trying to ask for his independence and shit. When you get older, you just not let him get that independence. Or two, he just becomes so dependent on you in your adulthood that he still just has like a childish mindset. Like a lot of men right now are still a whole bunch of mama boys because they depend on their mom for literally everything, even when they like 30, 40 years old. And that just shouldn't be the case, bro. Like, if you are an adult, you should get it your own way on my kids.
Nobody talks about this enough, but I feel like male-centered mothers who hate their own daughters need to be studied. It needs to be studied. It needs to be analyzed. It needs to be studied. Like male-centered moms, mothers, not saying all moms, but y'all know who I'm talking to. Y'all need to be studied because some of these male-centered moms are just like, do y'all hate y'all daughter? Like, do y'all really hate y'all daughter? Like, it just really needs to be studied because it's like some of you male-centered moms, like y'all treat y'all sons 10 times better than your own daughter. Like, and it's very sad. I haven't spoke to my mom in almost 2 years because I feel like my mom is pretty much male-centered. I have two brothers and one of my oldest brothers, she favors a lot. Like, she favors him. I'm talking about like, she favors him. You know why I stopped speaking to my mom? Because not only she was male-centered, you know, when I was growing up, but the simple fact that she did not attend my wedding. And see, often because we think it's our mom, we think that, you know, that's my family, that's my mom, like I love her down, X, Y, and Z. But some of these moms are narcissists. And the way my mother favored my brother to the fullest is like insane. And it's really crazy because male-centered moms, you know, like if you have a brother who was in and out of jail, always went to jail or was just always in trouble, always skipping school and just doing the most, but then you were just that daughter who went to school, who finished school, who actually did the right thing and got treated like shit still is insane. And that's really all I'm saying. Like some of these male-centered moms, like y'all really need to be studied because like the favoritism, like y'all sitting there favoring y'all sons and the whole time, like when you get old, you're going to need your daughter. Like when you get to a certain age and you realize that your son was never there for you or he's not going to be there for you, 9 times out of 10 to the moms that treat their daughters like shit, you are going to need your daughter eventually. Like when you get old, you are going to need your daughter. I don't know who this message is for, but male-centered moms, like, y'all need to do better and y'all need to be studied. Like, y'all really need to be studied because, like, the favoritism is insane, bro. Like, it's insane.
There is an extremely tragic death in culture and history when your mother is male-centered. There is so much that you lose in storytelling and wisdom of womanhood when your mother is male-centered.
Having a male-centered mother is not for the weak. Your mother prioritizing a man before her children does not feel good at all. Making sure a man's needs are met before your children's needs are met does not feel good at all. When my mother had a man, that lady was never at home. She was always running the streets, and every time I asked her like what was going on, she'd be like, I just jumped in the car with so-and-so and he kept me gone all day. And I followed up by asking why she never said no. And she said, well, he never tells me no, so I never tell him no. When she said that, I just could not believe it. This child was way too far gone. This man had the ultimate control over her and every decision she made. Male-centered mothers are the most absent when they have a man. And even if they are present in the house, that man is laid up right with her, which still means she's absent. Everything is that man, that man, that man. And these men don't give 2 fucks about them.
Being raised by a male-centered woman, whether you had siblings or not, is still hell. Let me explain why. Male-centered women are hyper-aware when it comes to the gifts of other women around them. Their insecurity makes them that way. It doesn't really matter if the woman around them is their daughter that came out of them. They really don't give a shit. When I was a child, I was always in gifted programs because I could read really well, but I could also write stories, short plays, short stories, stuff like that. It was one of the outlets that I had where I could just pour my heart on the page and not face any repercussion for it. But one day my mother found my diary, not found it, searched for it, and read it out loud, and not just read it out loud to her, to my stepfather. She called up my aunts and read it out loud. Guess what this bitch been saying about me? I'm feeding this stupid bitch. Guess what she's saying about me? I don't think I was older than 11. She took it a step further and she took it to the salon that she worked at and then began to show all the clients so that they can read with their own eyes how ungrateful I was. When it was time for me to go back into writing, I couldn't find my gift anymore. It just didn't feel the same. It took me years to get it back, to be able to write without the guilt and the shame that was afflicted upon me because she was so insecure. There are several women who are writers at their heart, who have a message they need to carry out, but their mother stole it before the world was able to benefit from it. It's really one of the biggest crimes against humanity that we don't speak about. You stifling the message that really could have freed someone else. If you've had this happen to you and you are a writer, you need to put yourself in a room, grab a notebook, and write, because you need access back to your gift. The world needs your gift. Nothing she said about you is true. Nothing she assumed about you is true. We want to hear what you have to say. Your voice is valuable. Now I'm gonna go ahead and finish my workout, but this comment definitely made me think about that story, because you don't necessarily need a brother to encounter a woman who hates women.
And another example of male-centered women or male-centered mothers is like, and a lot of y'all not gonna follow me when I say this, but this is just how I'll see it. So like, I was having a conversation with my mom the other day. She called me from my granny phone because she's blocked from mine. So she FaceTimed me from my granny phone. I'm thinking it's my granny, but it's her. And she called me and asked me about school. Mind you, I never told her I was in school, but somehow she knows that I'm in school, whatever. So we talking about that. She just telling me all these things that I need to do and I should do and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, are you going to help me pay for school? She like, no, you got a man in your life, don't you? When I had a man in my life, I didn't ask my mama for nothing. A lie. That's a lie. But it's just like, that's so weird to me. Like, for one, she only was saying that to just see if I'm dealing with somebody, or, you know, if I do have a man in my life, because she has no clue what the fuck be going on in my life, because we don't have that kind of relationship. She has no clue what the fuck I have going on. But two, what the fuck does that have to do with you helping your child out be successful with their schooling? What does a man being in my life have to do with anything? Like, that has nothing to do with nothing. And I just feel like so many black parents feel like that. And I get it to an extent. Like, if you are going to have a man in your life, of course he needs to be doing something. Like, that's a given. We all fucking know that. Of course, we all fucking know that. But I personally just feel like if I'm not married, then that shouldn't even be a fucking conversation. And even if I am married, like when I have kids and if they get married, of course the things that I do for them will probably, you know, slim down a little bit, because now you're married and your husband is supposed to be the one taking care of you and whatever the case may be. But even then, I'm still going to help my fucking kids. So what the fuck does a man have to do with what you do for your kids? That has nothing to do with nothing. And I just feel like that is another example of male-centered women, because it's like, you literally, it just makes no sense. And then to like piggyback off of that, it's like, I've experienced things within my family. Like, I was having a heated conversation with a family member, and they tried to say like, oh, you only acting like that, all that energy. Basically they were saying like, me being angry is not directed towards them, I need to direct it towards the man, or like that man, or whatever the case may be. And mind you, I had just actively stopped dating like around that time, probably like a month or two before that conversation happened. And it's just like, y'all are so male-centered that y'all think that everything is about a man. Like, no, bitch, you're literally pissing me off and my anger is directed towards the right person. But you feel like because when you into it with that man that you fucking with, you take it out on everybody else around you and you can't fucking breathe and you unhappy because you and that man into it. You feel like that's me. Or like when I did have a man and I was going through shit with a man, because I've been there. I've definitely been through some shit with a man. And they used to say that shit to me. I used to literally like sit back and think to myself like, damn, am I like angry and going through shit with this man and just taking it out on them, or am I literally just reacting to the situation at hand? And for me personally, I've never been into it with my nigga and took it out on somebody else or started shit with other people. Like, what me and that nigga got going on is what me and that nigga got going on. What me and you got going on, bitch, that's what me and you got going on. It's like, it's so weird. And I really used to fall victim to that shit. Like, damn, am I taking this out on them, or am I doing XYZ? And it's like, no, you didn't piss me off and now we got our own situation. The fuck?
So let me tell y'all this. This is why I really don't be having like the most sympathy for men or like whatever, because at the end of the day, especially black men, They're screaming tooth and nail all day, every day about how, oh, you trying to throw a black man in jail, this, that, and the third. But y'all be seeing the fuck, like, men are not slow. Okay? You know, they be weaponized. They be having weaponized incompetence. But men are not slow. And they see the different treatment, especially if they grew up in a pick-me household or, you know, one of them boy moms or whatever the case may be. They are not slow. So they see the difference treatment. They see the difference in the treatment that the women gets in the household and that the men get in the household. But you think they're going to say something? No. And this is why they begin so upset. Like, we just can't do something nice. No, because when men are comfortable, they can see the fucked up shit that be going on. They can see all that shit and will not say anything because they're comfortable and they're benefiting. So if they're getting treated like the top dog, you know what I'm saying? They're getting treated like a king. They're not finna say any motherfucking thing. They're not gonna say anything. They're just gonna let the shit ride. And especially if the pygmy has like told them, you know, told them stuff and refrain from telling them certain stuff. And that's just how they do. That's how they do. They will sit up here and not say a motherfucking thing like, oh, why you treating my sister like that? Or, you know, why you treating your niece like that? Why are you they're not gonna say anything. Because they're benefiting and they can really care less. They don't give a fuck either. That's another part. Like, they haven't done deep enough or done research enough because they just simply don't give a fuck. Because they're benefiting.
Some mothers are so male-centered that they become dangerous to their daughters. They emotionally elevate their sons and discard their daughters, not out of love, but out of internalized patriarchy so deep that it becomes an identity. They celebrate their sons and dismiss their daughters, not because their daughters are unworthy, but because they see men as safe and women as competition. What they express is patriarchal trauma playing out as emotional abuse. Male-centered mothers lean on their sons emotionally and treat them like partners instead of children. That's emotional incest, which creates entitled men and silenced daughters. These mothers will show their male-centeredness by calling in their sons and male partners to put their daughters in their place when their daughters express emotions, resistance, or autonomy. That's not about correction or discipline. That's about punishment for stepping outside of the role that patriarchy assigned women and girls. To the women and femmes reclaiming themselves, healing from a male-centered mother isn't just personal, it's ancestral. It's the sacred act of breaking generational cycles rooted in patriarchy. It means unlearning the ideology your mothers absorbed so they don't pass through you. It means choosing your voice over silence, your autonomy over approval, and your truth over traditions. Above all, it means remembering that you are not the problem. Patriarchy is, and you are the turning point.
Having a male-centered mom can go one or two ways. It can create a girl who is strong, independent, and resentful towards men and male-centered women, or it's going to become a side bitch. It's one or two. You can tell who took on, I resent the men and the male-centered women, and I'm going to be independent and not do that. And then you have women who became side bitches. Yep. And the craziest part be that most male-centered mothers came from male-centered mothers, so you know how that is. That was dumb. Why would you repeat the cycle?
Okay, so I'm starting to see that male-centered women and women in religion is getting widely talked about on TikTok. And I'm here to share my story, unfortunately. So growing up, my family was very religious. Mother was extremely male-centered. And I always didn't like the men she would bring around after my dad. Of course, my dad wasn't the best person, after him, it was just like she brought around anybody. And I don't know, I feel like as a child, I could just read energy. And as a child, you can tell when somebody is just not a good person. But I done went through so much shit with my male-centered religious ass mama. It's like they don't see your worth unless you're doing something. Unless you're producing something or you're helping them or sacrificing your time in some kind of way. It was like always males came first, whether it was my grandpa, whether it was my brothers, whether it was her ex-husband. The males always came first, and she made that known. Even my little sisters know that my big brother is her favorite. Like, she made that shit known. Like, we all know. But it don't make that shit right. Like, pick me moms and male-centered moms are the worst moms to have.
Male-centered mothers are dangerous. I'm not talking about mothers who just love their sons, but the mothers whose entire identity revolves around protecting a grown man's ego. That creates a very specific type of chaos. When a mother censors men, she doesn't raise her son to be accountable. She raises her son to be defended. Every mistake he makes becomes somebody else's fault. Every boundary he crosses becomes he's misunderstood. Now all of a sudden, every woman he meets is too sensitive, or she's asking too much of him. Now you have an emotionally underdeveloped man who thinks correction is abuse. And it's even worse when you try to correct his abuse and he calls that abuse. Because all you gotta say to him as a woman is, hey, that hurt me. He's gonna say, well, now you're attacking me. Who's the victim now? That's why as a mom, you cannot teach your son that his comfort is more important than everybody else's reality. Because now he's not looking at the women in his life as humans. They're looked at as competitors or villains just because they had the audacity to hold him accountable when he's never had to deal with that before. So now he thinks your accountability is disrespect. And you can't do nothing with that except leave it. So moms, male-centered moms, if you're not holding these men accountable, you're not only hurting the women that he's with, you're hurting him. Because what's he going to do when they eventually leave his nonsense? He's going to cry. And he's going to be sad. And he's going to lack the tools to understand that this was all his fault. Y'all be safe.
I saw this post on Facebook and it said that male-centered females are not good moms. And when I say that ain't nothing but the truth, a male-centered mom has to be the scariest kind. Those women will seriously get with the man and will let that man say anything, do anything to their kids. And just because they got somebody to lay next to at night, it's okay. Them be the kind of women that be knowing that their child is getting assaulted and to be like, it's okay, or try to make the child have an understanding of why it should be okay for that man to do stuff to them. Them be the kind of women that'll get with men and all of a sudden the daddy can't see the kids because they over there doing stuff to the kids that they don't want the kids to say nothing about. Them be the kind of women that'll go and spend all their money on the man, but when it come to their child looking less than every time you see the child, but her and the man look good. And sometimes it don't even be her with the man, it just be the man looking good and he ain't even got no damn job, so you wondering what's going on. Male-centered moms will see that the relationship that she's in is affecting her child and will see the child acting out different behaviors and all the things and will sit there and blame the child and say that the child is in the grown people business and stuff like that. When whole time, no, baby, your relationship with that man or that woman is affecting the child and you should pay attention to that. That has to be the scariest thing to have, like, seriously. That's why I let my kids know up front, baby, don't nobody come before y'all. Ain't no man about to be living with us or none of the things, because a man don't rule my world and I can seriously wait until my kids is grown to take somebody serious and date them. It's never that deep.
These are the mothers that no matter what their son do, it's never their son's fault. Their son could be beating somebody's child up and now they're on social media writing, oh, they're always trying to bring down men. They're always trying to, or maybe your son is abusive. These are also moms who put all the burdens and the responsibilities on their daughters, but have no responsibilities or expectations for their sons. They take care of their sons, they clean up for their sons, they feed their sons, and their sons have no responsibility of their own. And then those same sons grow up to be terrible people. A male-centered woman is a woman that does not have the ability to see any wrongdoing in male actions.
These women are also known as pick-me's, meaning their sole thoughts and opinions on things are formulated to get the male approval and the male attention to be picked and chosen and to be desirable.
Hey, let me tell you something. You see, and I'm not ashamed to say this, and I'll speak it. You see, my ex-mother-in-law, my God, I don't know even where to start from. She was so male-centered to the point that she ended up ruining her own children, like all of them. There's no one sober child among us. All four. Let me tell you something. This is the kind of woman who would watch my ex, now my son's dad, sick. Like that man sometimes used to get like these escapades whereby he was sick, he was shaking, he was sweating. And you know who was in the health insurance list? It was her good for nothing husband who stayed home all day on a tablet, using the Wi-Fi, eating her food, laying on bed the whole day. I remember there was this one time we moved houses and he waited for her in the evening just for her to fix the bed for him. Like, oh my God, I don't know how some women do it, but me I would have a lot of anger issues to the point that I had to see someone sitting around and they're not helping me. And then at night they come and ask for some. Like, I don't know where some women get the energy to even perform for these men. Oh my God. Oh my God. But I guess it's because these women have never been alone. They've never experienced the joy of just being alone. And most of these women are narcissists actually. Like they can't be alone. They can't have fun. They can't even enjoy their solitude. I think that's it. So this woman, she has done a lot of things. She was so male-centered to the point that she favored her sons over her daughter, her only daughter. To the point that this man now her husband started touching on her daughter, and their daughter is the last born. So her family, now this woman's family, they were all up in arms against her because of this thing. It's like you hearing your niece is being S8 and you will not stand for that. I mean, you will call your sister out. So it was such a situation. And okay, the rumors went silent. And okay, so late last year, I was given some stories. You know how these stories go around. Oh my God, you'll never have guessed. Guess what? That daughter got pregnant by the husband. And she was silent. I think she was afraid to tell the mother. And it got to a point where like the pregnancy was like 5 months or 6 months and they had to do like an abortion. That late, like it would even have killed her because of the shame. Because of the shame. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And you know what's funny is that even after that event, this woman is still with that man in the same house. I mean, it's like nothing big. That's a male-centered mother right here. And these women are very dangerous. They are the worst type of people, even as friends, as mother-in-laws, as anything. They're just the worst type of people, even at jobs. They're the worst type of people. And these women, they raise sons who are enabled. They enable their sons' bad behavior. But you know what's good, if you ever had a mother-in-law like that, is that those bad behaviors end up ruining their own sons. They get to a point whereby even their sons themselves start resenting them for the things they've done, for letting them spiral in a downward direction. They tend to resent their mothers so bad. The good thing is that those bad behaviors that these women enable in their sons end up ruining those sons. Those sons end up in jail, broke, wasted, or whatever you can guess. That is the good thing about it. And I agree that this type of women, they normally have like this hypersensitivity or like they normally know the gifts that other women around them possess. I remember this woman used to tell me, how about your YouTube? Aren't you doing YouTube? Like, you should try it. Obviously, she was fake. You should try it. You should do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'll do it. At that time, it was not like something serious. It was such a passion for me. But every time I got a phone, my ex found a way to just ruin the whole experience of me filming me. Either he will not like help with the baby or will just ruin my phone. Or I remember this one time I even managed to borrow a phone and record videos. He deleted the whole folders of videos, like 20 videos. I remember. So I could not win in that relationship. I could not, like this person could never thrive in that relationship. because I had enemies all around me, you know. But as soon as that relationship ended, I was so surprised at how fast this thrived, you know. So, hey, tell me, ladies, in the comment section, have you encountered a male-centered woman like me? Because especially as mother-in-laws, they're the worst. They are the worst. And let me tell you, if you're in such a relationship, you need to go far away from that woman. And if that man is not aware of who his mother really is and is not willing to protect you, I suggest you leave that relationship immediately, because it will never work and it will end up in a lot of tears. You'll waste your energy. She'll always be in a competition with you. Like, do you choose you right now? I don't know what I've left out, but I hope I've not left out anything. So I would love to hear your personal experiences in the comments section of, if you ever grew up with a male-centered mother, how was that in the house? How was that in the house? Like, I cannot imagine, like, my heart goes out to you, because that is a terrible situation and a terrible life to live as a child. So please comment down below and I'll be happy to give you my feedback. Anyway, ladies, please have a nice day and I'll see you on my next video. Bye. Mwah, mwah.